Today, we get to look at adding some cameras to that wonderful motorcycle of yours. Hey guys, welcome back to BikeGeeks. And I have been fortunate. I've been talking back and forth with a couple companies, but one of them, THINKWARE, they were obliged me by allowing me to do an install and a setup video as well as a review video in the end of their M1 Motorsports camera system. I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about this one. This one's going to be a great install. I'm really hoping everything goes good. But I broke the seal, but I couldn't bring it to me. I had to film the opening of the box. So let's bring the camera in. Okay, guys, here we go. So, like I said, I already cut this with my keys, but I haven't really done anything on the inside yet. So I'm looking forward to see what this looks like. Okay, so there is camera 1 and camera 2. And I'll just take off the plastic wrapper, why not? Okay. So, each of these cameras, it's looking like it's using a, what is that, a 10 pin? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 pins. It's a 10 pin camera connection. I've never actually seen that connector before. The other camera uses a 5 pin, so we can't get those mixed up where they need to plug in. This is the rear camera. The other one says front right on it. Full HD, full HD. Yep, rear. There it says right there. Maybe it was, there we go. How about that? Okay. Then, we have the mounts themselves. We have, I'm assuming, the recording device here, where you can stick in the SD card. Let's take a peek here. Alright, so we have, so there's your recording device. Yep, there's where you insert your SD card. Also has 2 other ports, D and H. I'm going to have to learn what that is. Alright, so that's that. Then it has the cable harness that obviously is where your front and your rear cameras plug in. Looks like there's the connections for the battery. Does it say anything? ACC accessory. We have a button where you can push to start recording, or it looks like a Wi-Fi button. Maybe that's to wireless controller from your phone or whichever. There is a fuse in line. Let's take a peek inside if I can do that real quick. Maybe my thumb is still a little sore still after all this time, but there we go. 2 amp. So 2 amp fuse in line on the cord already. You don't have to install that. That's nice. Okay, so let's set that off to the side. A couple Allen keys. That's obviously what I'm assuming the mounts and stuff use. There they are. They come with it. We also have in here a THINKWARE dash cam. Oh, is this just a micro USB reader? Yep, micro USB card reader. Well, that's pretty awesome. The micro SD card they give you is 32 gigs. You can always upgrade that if you need to, and they do give you the SD adapter as well. Couple items here for the 3M VHB adhesive rubber. Or maybe it's dual-sided, but a couple of those, we'll use those obviously in setup. Oh, the best thing that you can put in that box, we have our, environmental friendly Power Dry S. Yeah. Don't eat this stuff, right? Keep it away from your pets. Down here, we have stuff on THINKWARE Cloud service tutorial. They have some QR codes you can scan there, customer service numbers and contact information. And then, of course, we have the quick start guide and book. And in this book is where we're going to kind of base a lot of our installation stuff off of when we do the install. So that is what comes with this bad boy. You know, before we actually install it itself, I did want to at least look at this. It looks like that VHB tape we have there is extra. It's already attached to the bottom, so it is double-sided stuff. But this is the mount. I did want to at least show how this worked. It looks like I'm going to also need the Allen keys as well. A smaller one. Let's see here. So it looks like we just open up the side. So undo those two fasteners. And yep, just like a clamp style. And so if we take the camera, put it in there, it has kind of a nice rubberized foam in here, nice and squishy, and that actually will help grab onto the camera once we have it mounted and everything. Yeah, it grabs on really tight. That thing ain't going anywhere. That's awesome. So that should minimize vibration, as well as give you a good, well, obviously allow you to rotate this to level. If you can see that, we can just rotate this to level depending on where you mount this on your bike, right? So that's pretty simple, pretty basic on how it actually sticks to the wherever we're going to put it, I guess in that case, and then how the actual clamp style itself works. I guess more than anything, and something I'm going to point out probably when we're installing it, is you're probably going to want to make it fairly easy to access these fasteners, right? So we're going to want to face those out, or either upside down or right side up, whichever way possible, right? Kind of reminds you of a GoPro mount, right? A little bit. So that's that. That's essentially it. So yeah, next video will be us going out on the bike. So a good way to start is, or at least how I'm going to start, is I took one of my cameras, in this case is the front camera, which is the larger of the two cameras, and I mounted it to one of the mounts real quick. So you can kind of see how it is. I didn't tighten it up, but that's how she looks like when she's mounted. And so you kind of want to have an idea of where you want to mount it. Do I want it up here like this? Do I want it maybe on top of the fog light? Do I want it, in the center somehow? Or there's a lot of different ways we can mount it. What I've decided to do is I have a few places in mind, and they all are generally in a similar area. So what I've decided to do is get everything loosely put there, without zip tying anything or doing anything where the cables can't move. And before I actually stick this to anything, get the system fired up and see what it looks like. Do I want to see like the edge of my light, or do I want to see nothing but just the video I'm taking? That's what I've decided to do. On the back, however, the rear camera I think basically has really one spot where it will work. So we'll get to that in a little bit. One thing I did want to show you on the mount itself, maybe you can see, the mount actually has a very thin metal plate, and then that adhesive tape is stuck to that. It does bend, right? So if you're on like a curved surface, you're not going to want to bend it a whole bunch, and I'm going to leave it as flat as possible until I find exactly where I want to mount it. But that is something, so that if you're on a surface that does change, or like a contour, you can bend those down to contour with it. So something to point out. Where I'm going to start, I'm going to remove the seats off the bike, because that's where the main unit's going to go, and we'll kind of go from there. So this is the underneath my seat, and then the back panel where my tail lights and my lighting connections are. If you watch my install video on when I did my Oxford Night Rider turn signals, then you probably will have seen this part at least before. So in this case, what I really want, and to make sure I want a power source that's going to be turned off when I turn the key off. I don't want to have to worry about turning a switch off. I just want it to make sure that it goes off. And so every bike's going to be different in this regard. You might be able to pull it off the fuse box. All of my fuses are not switched. So the switch is actually at the key and ignition source, so I need to have something that actually goes through that switch in order to function properly. Well, upon realizing this, and this is not a very high amperage use, right? So you can see how light a wire this is. This is not going to pull a whole lot of power, and I might be able to pull the specs up. But the tail light, there is a yellow lead on my tail light here. That is switched, obviously, because it runs all the time. So this little yellow lead right here to the tail light is switched. And how you really, there's multiple ways you can find it. If you have the little bulb indicator, I can't find mine, but I do have a multimeter, and so I have the black end or the negative lead. I just have that on the battery itself, and then I have the positive lead, and I am going to attach that to, in this case, this is the yellow lead right here. And so when I kick it on, you can see we can get the old 12-volt battery to kick on. So that is the wire that I'm going to actually tap into. How I'm going to do it is going to be with just a quick automotive grade splicer, so I can splice onto it, and then I'll probably just tape it up as well. I'm not too worried because it is back here underneath all the stuff. I'm not saying that it can't get wet, but yeah, if you really want to, obviously you could make sure to do a waterproof housing, or you know, as best you can at least. But we're not going to want to get water in there if we can. So that said, I'm going to work on splicing that in, because that's going to go to this accessory, the red wire. That's going to be your positive lead, and then your negative lead can go anywhere that you can pull negative, so that can go off the battery, off the frame. That's how it would work. And you could always test that by using your probes again, and touching. You know, in this case, I can put the positive lead on there, turn the key on, and then find a spot that I could touch that I'd actually be able to get that full 12-volt connection. So if there's a bolt, you know, anything that's pulling off the frame should get you that negative connection. So that's probably what I'm going to go to, is just part of the frame back here, so that way it's in the same spot or same vicinity, but that's what I'm doing. So I did want to show what I did real quick. So I have my little connector here. I just spliced into the wire. I took all the tape off of this section, spliced into it. Now I have this. I actually put an end on it, so that way I can decouple it if I need to. I'm going to actually mount the negative lead to the frame back here somewhere, but then I can actually just take off the positive lead, and if I need to recycle power or whatever without actually turning the key stuff, or if I don't want it to run while I'm riding, I can do that with this. So that's what that is. That said, I guess I'm going to tape it on up. Okay, so I have the system here, which is, like I said, is going to go right here. I do have it powered on. So I connected both cameras, mainly for the front camera, because I want to know what it's going to look like. And so I turned on the bike. The bike is running, so we actually are getting power. We actually can see the light. Now, first thing I will say, I have both cameras connected. I also have the memory card installed on it. For some reason, it wasn't coming up when I didn't have the memory card installed. So I installed the memory card. It's coming up fine now. So you can see THINKWARE 7F is on my Wi-Fi connection screen. So I'm just connecting it to it directly from Wi-Fi. Password is 123456789, and I'm going to go ahead and join it. And I downloaded the THINKWARE Cloud app. So it looks like the little circle there, THINKWARE Cloud. And so I started the app, and I'm going to go ahead, okay, whatever. Oh, it even saw that I am connected to it right there via Wi-Fi. I'm going to click on it down there. Oh, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm already connected, so let's see if I can see live view. That's what I want to see. I want to see what this looks like. And that's going to be the front camera or the rear camera? Nope, that's the front camera. So we can actually see what that front camera sees, right? And of course, I have it upside down. But going by this, I can then actually spot where I'm going to mount it. So rather than me doing this on camera, I'm going to kind of play around with it, see what it looks like in the various settings that I can do, and find the right spot where I want to mount it. That's how I've decided to do it, and then I'll run the cables after I figure it out. So in the end, I've decided to mount it here on my aluminum shield here, my windshield, below my actual shield itself. Because it's out of the way of everything. I was considering going on the fog light here because this is a nice flat spot, but the headlight actually blocks part of the shot. So I decided to go up here. Now I've just loosely put it on here. I have actually clamped it on for now. I may have to adjust the actual levelness of it again, but I want it on here so that when I'm running the wire, so I can take my time and make sure it looks right. I'm probably going to get some zip ties to zip tie this, but I took the shield, some of the fairing off here, so I can get it ran back to the actual box itself. The rear is going to be a lot easier. I'm actually going to mount that one right here. Or actually right here, I'm sorry. And prior to actually sticking it on there, I did clean. You can probably see a little bit. This is darker than that. I did clean the area really good. So yes, I'm gonna run the wires. I'll show you what it looks like after I'm all done running the wires. Okay, so I got my front camera here. I've got my remote. Actually, I just stuck it right up here, and I ran those wires down together, and they kind of hug back in here behind the frame, and then in underneath the seat. And then I just have a couple zip ties just to keep them together. Back here in the spool, this is where all the excess wire is held. I just put a couple zip ties on it for now. I might actually take this out and just put Velcro on them instead. That way I can easily undo them if I need to, even without tools. My rear camera, right back here by the license plate. So there she is. And we should be fairly set. So I have everything buttoned up on my bike, other than the rear seat here, which is now done. I've tightened everything up. I found the easiest way to actually tighten these bolts, even though I can get to them, they're just really, really tedious. I actually took the main bolt out, like the kind of the GoPro mount bolt, right? The swivel bolt. Took it off, tightened both of them down after I straightened it out, and then put it back together. It was a lot easier doing it that way. So I got my rear camera all set. My front camera also flattened that one out, and that should be all set now as well. And yeah, I mean, obviously if I need to change anything, I'm going to. But now it's time to ride it and try it, and then we'll come back with what I think of it. So I'm gonna make note real quick that I took off the button. I've been riding with this for a couple days now. I took the button off here. I was getting lots of wind noise, lots of it. It makes sense, obviously, because the microphone's actually in that button. So I tried it, on a couple different locations, and I found putting it down here behind my tank was fantastic. So I uncoupled where I had the wire routed and brought it back up underneath the seat here and just kind of popped it up here. And then I had some more double-sided tape adhesive that's actually repositionable. So if I need to move it again, I can do it without ruining the adhesive, the tape itself. But that's where I have it now. Easy to access from my hand because it's really close to my knees, but it's not anywhere where I'm going to actually hit it unless I physically want to hit it. So that is something I did want to point out real quick. And then I found that this was a bad location for me to put it. It really was. And the adhesive, actually, that tape that I had on there, it actually came off real easy, so that's good. So that's the install of the THINKWARE Sports, the M1 camera, dual motorsport camera. Now I'm going to have, once I get more time actually on the saddle with the actual camera and actually test it out more, especially now that I have the microphone in the right spot, I'll have a bit more thoughts of it. Out of the gate, I'm really happy with it. It records all the time, and the only time when you hit that little record button, all it does is make a clip, and it saves that one clip so it doesn't automatically overwrite that clip. So if you notice something or something happens, hit that button, it'll make sure to save that little clip. But otherwise, you can go back to your ride and watch the entire ride. So I want to say thank you for THINKWARE to send this over to me. I really like the look of it. I'm really looking forward to trying it out more, and stop by here for a full review. I will put a link to that full review in the description once I have it up and running. But that said, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the setup. Of course, this is going to pertain to the Triumph Tiger. This is a 2012 model here. It's going to vary depending on your bike, but it is what it is. So thanks for watching Bike Geeks, guys. We'll catch you back here for another future video, install, or review, whichever we have, on anything bike or bicycle related. We'll see you soon.